Commander Alexis Chen wipes sweat from her brow as the alien delegation stares at her with a mixture of fascination and thinly veiled terror. The Galactic Council chamber, designed for beings from gentle worlds, feels uncomfortably cool and light to her Earthborn physiology. As Earth's first representative to this interstellar body, she understands why they call her homeworld a death world. Its crushing gravity, oxygen-rich atmosphere, and aggressive ecosystem have forged humans into biological marvels by galactic standards. The human shows no signs of distress in our standard atmosphere, whispers Elder Kirishal of the ancient Zoltheran collective to his colleagues, unaware that Chen's military-enhanced hearing catches every word. Remarkable adaptation. His 8-fingered hand makes notes on a transparent tablet, while his compound eyes never leave her form. Chen smiles diplomatically, pretending not to notice how the other delegates shift away when she moves too quickly. Only the diplomatic liaison Vereen, a willowy blue-skinned being, seems genuinely interested rather than afraid. Chen straightens her formal uniform, the material specially designed to appear diplomatic while concealing reinforced plating. 2 weeks into her assignment, and she's already tired of being treated like a specimen rather than an ambassador. The Galactic Council represents over 300 spacefaring civilizations, most evolved in environments that humans would find laughably gentle low gravity, stable temperatures, minimal radiation, and predictable weather patterns. Ambassador Chen, the melodic voice interrupts her thoughts. A Solari representative approaches, their translucent skin revealing flowing circulatory fluids that pulse with bioluminescence. If I may inquire about your world's atmospheric composition, our scientists find it difficult to believe organic life could evolve in such volatile conditions. Chen offers her practiced response, the words becoming familiar after countless similar questions. Earth's atmosphere is approximately 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, with trace gases making up the remainder. She watches the Solari's skin flicker with color patterns that her translator interprets as shock. So much free oxygen, and your species doesn't spontaneously combust. The Solari's tendrils wave in what Chen has learned indicates scientific curiosity. Fascinating. Our physiologists would very much like to study your respiratory adaptations. Perhaps another time. Chen replies, noticing how Elder Kirishal has drifted closer to overhear their conversation. The Zoltheran's interest in human biology seems more intense than diplomatic protocol would warrant. She's reviewed the briefings. The Zoltherans are among the oldest species in the Council, their civilization spanning nearly 50,000 years. They present themselves as mentors to younger species, but intelligence reports suggest a more complex agenda. The vast chamber dims slightly as the Council Arbiter, a massive being of silicon-based biology, takes the central platform. Chen moves toward Earth's designated position, aware of how her confident stride appears predatory to many present. The Arbiter's crystalline voice resonates through the chamber without technological assistance. "We welcome Earth to our assembly of civilizations," the Arbiter announces. Though classified as a Class 12 death world, humanity has demonstrated remarkable technological advancement despite their challenging environment. Chen notes how the term "despite" reveals the Council's fundamental misunderstanding. It wasn't despite Earth's challenges that humans advanced. It was because of them. Necessity drove innovation. Harsh conditions selected for adaptability, and constant environmental threats forged problem-solving intelligence. As the formal proceedings begin, she catches Elder Kirishal studying her with an intensity that triggers her combat-honed instincts. Something isn't right about the Zoltheran's interest. As Chen takes her seat, she activates her subdermal communicator with a subtle finger movement. "Security team," Chisa vocalizes, the vibrations in her throat picked up by the implant. "I want everything we have on Elder Kirishal. Priority level Alpha." The council chamber fills with pleasant harmonic tones, signaling the beginning of formal proceedings, but Chen remains vigilant. The hairs on the back of her neck stand up, an evolutionary warning system that has saved human lives for millennia. Someone is watching her with more than diplomatic interest. This opportunity is unprecedented, Commander, Vareen explains, hovering beside Chen as they examine the holographic projection of a mysterious structure. The Zoltherans rarely invite outsiders to their archaeological discoveries. The perfect hexagonal tower, embedded in a desolate moon, pulses with ancient power even in this simple projection. Chen studies Elder Kirschall's expression as he extends the formal invitation. Our preliminary findings suggest technological similarities to artifacts discovered in Earth's Gobi Desert, he says smoothly. Your insight could prove valuable. Captain Rodriguez, Chen's security officer, leans close. I don't like it. Why you specifically? Why now? Chen shares his concerns but recognizes the diplomatic significance. If humans want a place among the stars, they need to take calculated risks. She accepts with a firm handshake that makes the elder flinch at her strength, though his smile never wavers. 3 days later, Chen steps aboard the Zoltheran research vessel, the Empirical Truth. The ship's interior, designed for beings accustomed to gentle gravity, feels almost buoyant to her Earth-trained muscles. She secures her combat-grade environmental suit in her private quarters, a precaution her instincts insist upon despite diplomatic protocol suggesting otherwise. Commander Chen, welcome aboard, chirps a junior Zoltheran scientist, her translucent exoskeleton gleaming under the ship's ambient lighting. I am Tixera, assigned as your research liaison. Elder Kirishal requested I provide you with these preliminary scans. She extends a data crystal, her thin fingers trembling slightly when Chen's hand approaches. The data crystal contains detailed scans of the structure, but Chen immediately notices inconsistencies with the briefing materials. The dimensions don't match precisely, and certain features are conspicuously absent from the new scans. When she raises these points with Tixara, the young scientist's compound eyes dart nervously. Different scanning methodologies often yield varied results. Tixera offers two quickly. The elder believes the structure reconfigures itself periodically, a sign of its advanced design. Chen nods politely, but makes mental notes of each discrepancy. That night, while the ship hums through hyperspace, she conducts her own analysis using Earth's specialized algorithms. The results confirm her suspicions. The structure's composition includes alloys only recently developed by advanced council races. Whatever they're approaching, it isn't millions of years old. The next morning, Elder Kirishal summons Chen to the observation deck. Through the massive viewport, a gas giant looms, its swirling storms painting its surface with violent beauty. In its shadow hangs a desolate, crater-pocked moon, where the mysterious structure awaits. Magnificent, isn't it? The elder asks, his voice reverent. We believe this facility was constructed by the predecessors, a civilization that vanished over 3 million years ago. Chen watches his reflection in the viewport glass. Interesting that they used titanium-vanadium alloys that weren't synthesized until approximately 50 years ago, she remarks casually, noting how the elder's posture stiffens momentarily. Your species has an amusing tendency toward pattern recognition. Commander, he recovers smoothly. What appears to be modern alloys is merely a coincidental atomic arrangement in naturally occurring minerals. The ship's artificial gravity fluctuates briefly as they enter orbit around the moon. To the aliens, it's a noticeable and uncomfortable drop. To Chen, it's barely perceptible thanks to her natural adaptation to Earth's variable gravitational fields caused by geographic elevation differences. We'll shuttle down in 3 hours, Elder Kirishal announces. A team of 8 scientists, yourself, and 2 security personnel. Environmental suits will be required, though the structure itself appears to maintain internal atmosphere. As the elder leaves, Vareen approaches Chen with unusual caution. The blue-skinned diplomat's normal cheerfulness has been replaced with obvious concern. Commander, Vareen whispers, I've transmitted your observations about the structure's composition to Council security. Something isn't right about this expedition. Chen nods slightly. I know, but I need to see what they're really up to. She checks her suit's systems one final time, adjusting its parameters for worst-case scenarios. Keep an open channel to Council security. If I don't check in every 6 hours, tell them to send everything they've got. The shuttle bay doors open below them, revealing the stark lunar landscape and the perfect hexagonal tower that rises from it like a monument to impossible precision. Chen feels a familiar sensation in her gut, the same feeling she experienced before every high-risk mission on Earth. Something is very wrong here, and she's walking right into it. The research vessel breaks orbit around the gas giant, revealing the desolate moon and its extraordinary feature, a perfectly symmetrical hexagonal tower that shows no signs of erosion despite allegedly being millions of years old. Chen's trained eye catches details the others miss. The airlock mechanisms are pristine, the entry symbols freshly carved. The previous exploration teams mapped only the antechamber. Elder Kirishal explains as they approach the entrance. Environmental anomalies prevented deeper access. Chen notices the Elder's assistant transmit something silently to the ship above. The schematics projected before the team show a relatively simple layout, yet Chen spots defensive positions and choke points more reminiscent of military installations than ancient ruins. The shuttle settles on the lunar surface with a gentle hiss of landing struts compressing against regolith. Through her helmet visor, Chen studies the structure's exterior. No cosmic ray damage, no micrometeorite impacts, no radiation darkening. Impossible for something exposed to space for millennia. Commander Chen, please stay with the primary research team, Elder Kirishal instructs as they disembark. Your environmental suit may require additional calibration for the interior conditions. Chen nods but activates her suit's autonomous diagnostic system. The readout confirms what she suspected. Someone attempted to remotely access her suit's environmental controls during the descent. The intrusion failed against Earth's military-grade encryption, but the attempt itself is damning. Quite remarkable preservation. Chen comments as they approach the entrance, her voice deliberately casual, almost as if it were built yesterday. The junior scientist Tixera flutters nervously. The moon's lack of atmosphere contributes to the preservation, Commander. Without erosion factors, we'd still see radiation damage and micrometeorite impacts. Chen interrupts gently. Elementary physics doesn't change, even in alien archaeology. The entrance portal slides open with silent precision as they approach. No dust, no resistance in the mechanism. Chen's suit sensors immediately begin analyzing the interior atmosphere and structural materials. The readings flash across her helmet display. Oxygen-nitrogen mix with trace elements. Ambient temperature controlled to within 1 degree. Artificial gravity generators actively functioning. Elder, she begins cautiously. These readings suggest recent activation. This facility is powered and operational. Elder Kirishal's expression remains unreadable behind his environmental suit. Remarkable self-preservation systems, indeed. The predecessor's technology continues to astound us. The research team enters a vast antechamber, its walls covered in what appear to be mathematical formulas and star charts. Chen's suit AI begins translation attempts, identifying patterns similar to ancient Earth calculus, but with significant advancements. As the last team member crosses the threshold, the massive entrance seals behind them with an ominous hiss. Standard procedure, Elder Kirishal announces too quickly. The facility maintains atmospheric integrity through automated systems. Chen activates her suit's electromagnetic sensors, detecting power surges building within the walls. These energy signatures match Zoltheran military-grade systems, she states flatly, watching the Elder's reaction. Curious finding in a 3-million-year-old structure, wouldn't you say? The Elder's compound eyes narrow. Your sensors must be miscalibrated for alien technology, Commander. A common error when. A sudden tremor interrupts him as the floor beneath them reconfigures. Seams appear in the previously seamless surface, panels sliding to reveal complex machinery below. The junior scientists gasp in confusion, but Chen notices the Elder and his senior staff remain unsurprised. I recognize Zoltheran atmospheric modulators, Chen says, pointing to components now visible beneath the floor. And those are gravity plating systems identical to those on your research vessel. Would you care to explain why ancient technology matches your current military specifications exactly? The Elder's assistant moves suddenly, activating a control panel hidden within what appeared to be decorative wall elements. Chen lunges toward him, but too late. The chamber lights shift to a warning red as internal systems engage. I apologize for the deception, Commander, Elder Kirishal says, his voice suddenly cold. But the Council needs to understand exactly what they've invited into the galactic community. Chen's suit sensors scream warnings as atmospheric composition begins to change and gravity intensifies. The massive door remains sealed behind them. There will be no easy escape. This isn't archaeology, Chen realizes aloud. This is an experiment, and I'm the test subject. The chamber transforms with terrifying efficiency. Gravity plating activates, crushing the alien scientists to the floor, while Chen remains standing, her earthborn muscles straining but functional. The atmosphere floods with a cocktail of gases that causes the aliens' environmental suits to bubble and dissolve. Temperature plummets to levels that would freeze human blood, yet Chen's suit compensates while her natural cold resistance, an evolutionary gift from Earth's ice ages, buys her precious time. This isn't ancient technology, Chen realizes aloud, watching in horror as the Zoltheran scientists collapse around her. This is a controlled experiment, with me as the subject. Her suit eye confirms her suspicion, identifying recent manufacturing signatures on exposed components. As radiation levels spike to levels lethal to most galactic species, Chen's genetics, shaped by millennia on a world bathed in solar radiation and cosmic rays, activate cellular repair mechanisms unheard of among the stars. Elder Kirishal, dying on the chamber floor, watches with disbelief as the human strides toward him through conditions designed to annihilate all known life forms. Impossible, he gasps as Chen kneels beside him. You were supposed to die first. Chen's suit display flashes urgent warnings. External temperature, minus 70 degrees Celsius. Radiation, 800 millisieverts and climbing. Atmospheric toxins, 17 identified compounds at lethal concentrations. Under such conditions, most species would experience immediate system failure. Yet Chen feels only discomfort and the familiar surge of adrenaline that humans evolve for crisis response. Why? Chen demands, grasping the Elder's shoulder. Why sacrifice your own people? The Elder's breathing comes in ragged gasps, his exoskeleton cracking under the intense gravitational pressure. They volunteered for the greater good. Humans are too dangerous. Council needed proof. Around them, junior scientists writhe in agony or lie motionless. Only Tixera still moves, dragging herself toward a wall console with desperate determination. Chen recognizes her intent, not escape, but completing the experiment regardless of personal cost. Such dedication would be admirable if not directed toward her destruction. Chen's suit integrity falls below 60% as corrosive elements begin penetrating the outer layers. Earth-standard environmental protection, designed for the most hostile environments of her home planet, proves barely adequate against this concentrated assault. She feels the first bite of cold against her skin as thermal regulation falters. Your species should never have left your death world, Elder Kirishal wheezes. The galaxy isn't ready for predators like you. Chen's military training takes over. Survival first, then rescue if possible. Finally secure evidence of this atrocity. She sprints toward Tixera, each step requiring conscious effort against the crushing gravity. The junior scientist has reached the console and inputs a final command sequence before her exoskeleton gives way with a sickening crack. The chamber responds immediately. Ceiling panels retract, revealing mechanical systems that begin pumping visible waves of microwave radiation directly downward. Chen's exposed skin reddens instantly, but where most species would experience immediate cellular breakdown, her melanin, evolved to protect against Earth's harsh sunlight, provides critical seconds of protection. The suit's medical diagnostics report elevated heart rate, increased core temperature, and radiation exposure approaching dangerous levels, yet Chen's body compensates with remarkable efficiency. Her respiratory system extracts maximum oxygen from the increasingly toxic atmosphere. Her cardiovascular system reroutes blood flow to vital organs. Her muscles burn with exertion but continue functioning at near optimal levels. Adaptive responses detected in test subject, announces an automated voice in the Zoltheran language, which Chen's translator renders in flat, emotionless tones. Increasing environmental hostility to Level 2 protocols. Chen reaches the far wall, where environmental readings suggest a control interface exists behind the seamless surface. She presses her palm against it, feeling for temperature variations that might indicate hidden technology. Nothing. She glances back at the fallen scientists, noting with grim realization that they carried no tools or weapons. They expected to observe, not survive. A sudden hissing from overhead vents introduces new compounds into the atmosphere. Chen's suit filters strain to identify the molecular structures. Complex neurotoxins specifically designed to target mammalian nervous systems. As the first particles penetrate her compromised suit, Chen feels a tingling in her extremities. Where most species would experience immediate paralysis, her liver, evolved to process countless natural toxins found in Earth's diverse ecosystem, begins breaking down the compounds. Your death world has made you strong, human. The elder manages, his voice failing as his systems shut down. But nothing survives what comes next. With the alien scientists dead or unconscious, Chen faces the facility alone. Her suit integrity failing against the extreme conditions, she relies increasingly on the adaptations that make humans the apex predators of a death world. The facility becomes more hostile with each chamber, corridors filled with corrosive mist that would dissolve alien exoskeletons, but merely burns human skin, which rapidly regenerates. Chen navigates through razor wire traps that snag on her suit but fail to penetrate her unusually dense muscle tissue. A room floods with water containing paralytic compounds. Chen holds her breath for nearly 5 minutes, swooning through with powerful strokes no low-gravity species could manage. Her military training combines with instincts honed by Earth's unforgiving environments as she methodically moves toward the central control chamber. A sudden energy discharge hits her directly, temporarily stopping her heart, a certain death for any alien species. Chen collapses, motionless for precious seconds before her backup cardiovascular functionality. An evolutionary remnant from distant mammalian ancestors kickstarts her system. She gasps back to consciousness, crawls forward, and reaches the central console, leaving a trail of blood that rapidly clots thanks to enhanced platelets evolved to handle Earth's dangerous fauna. The central chamber hums with energy, walls lined with monitoring equipment and data storage. Chen staggers to the main console, her vision blurring from the combined effects of radiation, toxins, and physical trauma. Her fingers, though burned and bleeding, maintain enough dexterity to access the system. Earth's cybersecurity protocols, designed to function even under battlefield conditions, begin working to breach the alien security measures. Access denied, announces the system in the formal Zoltheran language. Unauthorized biological signature detected. Ken smiles grimly. She expected this. From a concealed pocket in her damaged suit, she extracts a small device, standard Earth military infiltration technology. The device attaches to the console interface, cycling through millions of possible access combinations while simultaneously analyzing the security architecture for vulnerabilities. Primitive brute force methods detected, the system announces. Countermeasures engage. The console surface suddenly heats to temperatures that would melt most metals. Chen's device, shielded by Earth's most heat-resistant alloys, continues functioning while her gloved hand withdraws just in time. Even through the protection, She feels the scorching heat, but Earth organisms evolve to survive wildfires and volcanic events, and her tissue damage remains superficial. A secondary console activates, showing real-time biometric data. Her own heart rate, blood oxygen levels, neural activity, cellular degradation rates. Chen realizes with growing anger that every challenge she's faced has been carefully measured and recorded. The facility isn't just trying to kill her, it's studying how she dies. Remarkable resilience. Notes an automated research protocol, scrolling across a screen in scientific notation. Subject maintains consciousness and cognitive function despite exposure to 17 lethal environmental factors. Recommend preservation of neural tissue for post-mortem analysis. Chen's infiltration device chimes softly. Access granted. She immediately disables the most immediately lethal systems while scanning the facility schematics. What she finds confirms her worst fears. The structure contains dozens of specialized chambers, each designed to test different methods of eliminating Deathworld species. This isn't just about her. It's preparation for potential genocide against humanity. The system attempts to lock her out, but Chen's fingers fly across the interface, applying every electronic warfare technique in Earth's considerable arsenal. She isolates a communications subsystem and accesses stored transmissions. Video feeds show observation rooms where Zoltheran scientists watched previous experiments. One feed remains active, a secure chamber where high-ranking officials observe her struggle in real time. Attention observers. Chen addresses the camera directly, her voice hoarse but unwavering. This facility violates 17 Galactic Council treaties. I have downloaded evidence of your activities and activated an emergency beacon. Council security forces are en route. This is a bluff. Her communications remain blocked, but the sudden flurry of activity on the observer feed suggests it's working. Chen uses their distraction to access the facility's central database, downloading schematics, research protocols, and most critically, the identities of everyone involved in this illegal operation. A new alarm sounds as the facility's automated defense systems activate. Mechanical sounds echo through adjacent chambers, mobile units deploying to eliminate the human intruder. Chen checks her damage suit's remaining capabilities. The odds are slim, but as any human knows, slim odds are still odds. And humans have been beating the odds since they first evolved on their unforgiving world. Challenge accepted, Chen mutters as she prepares for the next phase of this deadly gauntlet. In a hidden observation chamber, the highest-ranking members of the Zoltheran Scientific Collective watch in stunned silence as Chen survives condition after condition designed to eliminate her. What began as a demonstration of human weakness has become an unprecedented display of resilience. Terminate the experiment, orders the Supreme Elder, his voice trembling. Initiate facility purge. But the technicians' commands receive no response. Chen has already compromised their systems from within. The connection is reversed. The technician exclaims, "She's watching us now." The observation screen flickers, revealing Chen's blood-streaked face staring directly at them, her expression not of hatred but determined calculation, a predator assessing prey. Meanwhile, Varine has grown suspicious of the secretive mission and alerted Galactic Council security forces, who now surround the Zoltheran observation post. The conspiracy unravels as quickly as it formed, with several council representatives demanding immediate action against the unauthorized experiment. Supreme Elder Nirvoreth paces the observation chamber, compound eyes flickering rapidly in the Zoltheran expression of extreme agitation. The monitoring screens display Chen's vital signs, all of which should indicate a dead specimen, yet stubbornly continue showing active biological functions. How is this possible? Demands Councillor Jex, the military liaison. You assured us the human would not survive the initial exposure. Now she's accessed our systems and compromised security protocols that protect our most classified research. The technician frantically attempts to lock Chen out, his 8-fingered hands blurring across the control interface. Her infiltration methods are unlike anything in our database. She's using algorithms that adapt to our countermeasures in real time. On the main display, they watch as Chen navigates through chamber after chamber, each designed to be lethal in unique ways. The facility's mobile defense units converge on her position, only to be disabled through methods that seem primitive but prove devastatingly effective. Environmental systems turned against their own components, power conduits overloaded, sensory arrays compromised. "We're witnessing impossible biology," murmurs the chief xenobiologist, her voice mixing fear and scientific fascination. The radiation levels alone should have caused terminal cellular breakdown, yet her tissue regenerates at rates that defy established biological principles. A communication alert sounds through the chamber. "Incoming transmission from Galactic Council Security," announces the system. "Priority Alpha." The Supreme Elder hesitates, then nods reluctantly. The screen splits, half still showing Chen's progress through the facility, the other half displaying the stern visage of Admiral Krell, head of Council Security. "Supreme Elder," the Admiral states without greeting, "we have received disturbing information regarding unauthorized experimentation on a diplomatic representative." "Explain." "A simple misunderstanding," the Supreme Elder attempts. "We're conducting approved research on environmental adaptation in controlled conditions." The human volunteered. "Do not compound your crimes with falsehoods," interrupts the Admiral. "We have received the facility schematics and research protocols directly from Commander Chen. This facility violates 16 separate Council treaties and constitutes an act of war against Earth." The observation chamber falls silent. On the monitoring screen, Chen has reached the facility's power core and appears to be reprogramming its containment parameters. "She wouldn't," whispers the technician in horror. "If she destabilizes the core, the entire facility will." "She's not destabilizing it," interrupts the xenobiologist, studying the data scrolling across her screen. "She's reconfiguring the system to generate a focused electromagnetic pulse, one that will disable your mobile units while preserving the data storage." Tactical thinking. Counselor Jex observes with reluctant admiration. "She ensures her survival while preserving evidence of our actions." A new voice enters the chamber. Vareen, escorted by Council security officers. "The human isn't just surviving your death trap," the blue-skinned diplomat states coldly. "She's turning it into her testimony against you." Supreme Elder Nirvorath slumps into his chair, compound eyes dimming in defeat. "We believe humans were too dangerous to join our galactic community. We feared their Deathworld adaptations would make them unstoppable if they ever turned aggressive." "You've proven your own point," Vareen responds, "but not in the way you intended. Your actions have demonstrated that humans are indeed remarkably resilient, but also capable of restraint and justice even when betrayed. Commander Chen could have destroyed this facility and everyone in it, yet she chose to preserve lives and evidence instead." On the screen, Chen looks directly into a monitoring camera. Her face is burned, bloodied, yet unbroken. She speaks a single sentence before the electromagnetic pulse temporarily disables the observation systems. "This is how Earth handles threats. We survive them, then we learn from them." Chen examines the facility's central database, uncovering the true nature of the trap and evidence of genetic samples taken without consent. The structure begins to self-destruct, life support failing as primary systems overload. Conventional escape is impossible. The airlock won't cycle, the research vessel has been ordered to depart, and the atmosphere outside is non-existent. Using materials from within the facility, Chen constructs makeshift protection against vacuum exposure. She calculates the trajectory needed to reach the emergency beacon she secretly planted on the research vessel's hull during the journey. With a synchronized explosion created from repurposed energy cells, she breaches the outer wall. The explosive decompression hurls her into space, her improvised protection barely maintaining pressure around her core organs, Earth-evolved lungs, capable of operating in oxygen-scarce environments, extract every molecule of remaining air while her body enters a state of semi-hibernation. another survival mechanism from humanity's evolutionary past. For 73 seconds, she exists in hard vacuum, conscious but suspended between life and death as she drifts toward the distant research vessel. The ship's automatic defense systems, registering an incoming object, extend a maintenance drone that captures her before she can impact the hull. As atmosphere floods the drone bay, Chen's systems restart with a desperate gasp. Against all odds and known medical science, she survives. Chen awakens within the maintenance drone's cramped confines, every nerve ending screaming in protest. Her improvised vacuum protection, fashioned from sections of the facility's insulation materials and sealed with repurposed medical adhesive, has partially fused to her skin where exposed to the vacuum of space. Blood vessels have burst in her eyes, turning the whites crimson. Her lips are cracked and blue, her extremities frostbitten, but her mind remains sharp. The drone bay's atmosphere is thin but breathable. Chen recognizes the familiar hum of the research vessel's engines preparing for hyperspace jump. She has minutes at most before the ship leaves the system, taking her and the evidence with it. Status report. She croaks to her suit's AI, the voice command barely audible through her damaged vocal cords. Critical systems failure, responds the AI in her earpiece. Suit integrity at 12%. Medical systems offline. Communications functional but limited to short range. Chen pries open the drone's maintenance panel, exposing its control circuits. Earth's military training includes emergency procedures for every conceivable scenario, including commandeering alien technology. She rewires the drone's communication system to broadcast on emergency frequencies. Mayday, she transmits. Commander Chen to any council vessel, captured aboard Zoltheran research vessel after illegal experimentation. Request immediate interception. Static answers her. The ship's hull would block most transmissions, and the Zoltherans would be monitoring standard frequencies. Chen needs a different approach. She disconnects the data crystal containing her evidence from her suit and inserts it into the drone's limited processing system. The drone's operational protocols resist at first, then accept the crystal's interface. Its simple programming expands exponentially as Earth's military-grade hacking algorithms activate. Chen smiles through bloodied lips. The Zoltherans, like most species, design their systems with elegance but not security, a common oversight when dealing with species that evolved in peaceful environments. The drone connects to the ship's network, its infiltration undetected as it accesses navigational controls. Chen modifies the outgoing trajectory by mere fractions, not enough to alert the crew, but sufficient to intersect with the Galactic Council security vessels that must be responding to Varine's alert by now. A sudden jolt indicates the ship has begun accelerating. Chen secures herself within the drone bay, conserving her remaining strength. The makeshift pressure seal on her vacuum protection leaks slightly, each breath becoming more labored. Human adaptability has limits, and she's approaching hers. Hold on, she whispers to herself, an ancient human tradition, before facing impossible odds. Just a little longer. Through the drone bay's small external viewport, Chen watches stars elongate as the ship accelerates. Among them, almost too faint to see, a pattern of lights moves in precision formation. Council security vessels on intercept course. Her trajectory modification worked. The research vessel's alarms suddenly blare. The crew has detected the approaching council ships and realizes they've been outmaneuvered. The vessel lurches as it attempts evasive maneuvers, throwing Chen against the drone bay wall. Fresh pain erupts through her injured body, but she grins through it. Pain means survival. Another lesson from Earth's unforgiving evolution. You're not getting away, she murmurs, eyes fixed on the approaching lights. Not with what you've done. Chen's return to the Galactic Council creates an unprecedented diplomatic situation. The evidence she brings, both in data form and in her very survival, forces a fundamental reassessment of human capabilities and the ethical standards of interspecies research. The public demonstration of her experience, including unedited sensor footage from her suit, leaves the assembled delegates in stunned silence. Species that once feared humans as potential conquerors now see them as invaluable allies for environments too hostile for other forms of life. The Zoltheran conspirators face justice, while a new classification is created specifically for Earth, not simply a death world, but a crucible world, a planet whose extreme conditions forge species with extraordinary capabilities. Research teams from across the galaxy request permission to study human adaptability, this time with full transparency and ethical oversight. Chen, appointed as Earth's security advisor to the Council, establishes protocols ensuring such experiments can never again occur without consent. We survived our world not because we conquered it, Chen explains to a room of fascinated xenobiologists, but because we learned to adapt to whatever it threw at us. That's not just in our bodies, it's in how we think. She demonstrates by solving a complex mechanical puzzle in seconds, showcasing the problem-solving abilities that come from evolving on a planet where quick thinking means survival. As humanity steps onto the galactic stage as partners rather than threats, Chen reflects on the irony. A trap designed to prove human weakness instead revealed their greatest strength, the ability to endure, adapt, and grow stronger through the very challenges meant to destroy them. 3 weeks after her rescue, Chen stands before the full Galactic Council. Her body bears the marks of her ordeal, regenerated skin with a pattern of fine scars, eyes still flecked with red where blood vessels burst in vacuum, and a slight limp from frostbite damage not yet fully healed. To the assembled delegates, these marks of survival seem almost ceremonial, badges of honor earned in trial by fire. The report before you contains my complete findings. Chen addresses the council, her voice strong despite the lingering rasp. The facility was designed specifically to test lethal methods against Deathworld species, with particular focus on human physiological weaknesses. The conspiracy involved 17 high-ranking members of the Zoltheran Collective and utilized resources diverted from legitimate research programs. Supreme Arbiter Talax, the silicon-based entity who heads the council, inclines his crystalline form. The evidence is irrefutable, Commander Chen. The Council formally apologizes for this unauthorized action against Earth's representative. Justice will be served. Chen nods, acknowledging the apology but focused on her greater purpose. Justice matters, but prevention matters more. I propose the establishment of the Adaptive Species Protection Act, ensuring that no species faces discrimination or unauthorized testing based on their evolutionary origins. The chamber fills with the harmonic tones of approval as delegates signal their support. Chen continues, presenting the framework she's developed with Vereen and sympathetic council members. A comprehensive overhaul of interspecies protocols that recognizes the unique capabilities and potential contributions of Deathworld species. The Zoltherans feared what they did not understand, Chen concludes. They saw our physical adaptations as a threat rather than an opportunity for collaboration. Earth doesn't seek dominance. We seek partnership. Our resilience can become your advantage. After the session, Vereen approaches Chen in the diplomatic lounge. The xenobiologists are calling you the impossible survivor, the blue-skinned diplomat remarks with amusement. 7 different medical journals have requested to study your recovery process. Chen laughs, wincing slightly as her healing ribs protest. Tell them to get in line. Earth's scientists have first claim on my medical oddities. The Council has approved joint missions to previously inaccessible environments. Vereen continues, excitement evident in her melodic voice. High-gravity worlds, extreme temperature zones, radiation-heavy systems, all now accessible with human partners. Chen gazes through the vast viewport at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, Earth continues its orbit around an unremarkable yellow star, unaware that its challenging nature has forged not just survivors, but pioneers. The very conditions that isolated humanity on their difficult world have now made them essential to exploring the galaxy's most challenging frontiers. Ready for our next impossible mission? Vereen asks, offering a data tablet with details of a proposed expedition to a storm-racked gas giant where valuable compounds form in the atmospheric layers. Chen takes the tablet, a smile forming on her scared face. Humans are always ready for the impossible. It's practically our specialty.